On November 14, 2001, a sonar operator aboard the research vessel Shuktara recorded an anomaly at coordinates 21 degrees 06 north, 72 degrees 32 east in the Gulf of Khambhat off the western coast of India. The reading showed a geometric structure on the seafloor at approximately 40 meters depth. The operator filed the reading, and the National Institute of Ocean Technology in Chennai logged it as anomaly GK2001-114. The NIOT survey team returned to the site the following week, and what they found in week 2 was not included in the published report. The published report covered the first week only, and GK2001-114 is still listed as open in the NIOT internal archive.
The primary document is cataloged as CBS 10673 in the University of Pennsylvania Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology in Philadelphia. Physical dimensions 11.4 centimeters wide, 8.7 centimeters tall, 2.3 centimeters thick, dark gray baked clay, excavated from Nippur, Iraq, during the American expedition of 1893 to 1896, shipped to Philadelphia in 1898. The tablet carries text on both faces. The obverse contains the passage most scholars have studied, a compressed version of the 7-world sequence ending in flood, and the reverse contains a section that received almost no attention for over a century. In 1925, Arno Pobel of the Oriental Institute published his translation of CBS 10673. His published version covered the obverse entirely and the first 6 lines of the reverse, and lines 7 through 19 of the reverse were described in a footnote as containing terminology of uncertain application.
Pobel's handwritten notes, held in the Oriental Institute archive under file OI-AP-1925-CB, contain a margin notation on page 34. The notation reads, "Reverse lines 7 through 19 describe a physical structure with locational parameters. The structure is called the Abzu. The parameters do not match any known symbolic usage of the term. Further analysis required before publication." Pobel published nothing further on lines 7 through 19. He died in 1955. The margin notation was not referenced in any published work until a 2019 database cross-reference by a team at the University of Pennsylvania identified it during a digitization project. The 2019 team filed an internal memo recommending full retranslation of the reverse, and that retranslation has not been published.
The Abzu appears across Sumerian literature, in the Enuma Elish, in the Atrahasis epic, in the Eridu Genesis, and each reference treats it the same way a modern document treats a facility address, a named location with a function, not a metaphor. CBS 10673 reverse, lines 7 through 19, are the most specific description of the Abzu in the entire cuneiform corpus, and the text opens with the Sumerian phrase Abzu ki a guba. Literal translation: the Abzu standing in the earth below. The word Ab means sea or deep water. The word Zu means knowledge or that which is known, and together, Abzu is typically rendered as primordial abyss or deep water. But in the context of reverse lines 7 through 19, the grammatical construction is locational, not symbolic. The scribe is describing a place, not a concept. Line 8 gives a depth reference. The Sumerian phrase ki ur gal a abba dibba. Literal translation: below the great boundary of the salt water. And the Sumerians distinguished between 2 bodies of underground water: the Abba, the salt water equivalent to the ocean, and the Gargar, the freshwater lens, the layer of fresh water that sits above salt water in coastal and island geology, held in place by density difference. The Abzu is described as sitting below the Gargar boundary, below the freshwater lens,
And in modern oceanography, the boundary between a freshwater lens and the saltwater beneath it is called the halocline. The halocline in the Persian Gulf region sits at depths ranging from 30 to 120 meters, depending on location, season, and proximity to river outflow.
Line 11 of the reverse gives a lateral dimension for the Abzu, using the Sumerian unit ninda, approximately 6 meters. The text states the structure extends 300 ninda in one horizontal direction, and 300 ninda is 1,800 meters. Hold that number. Line 14 describes the function. The phrase ki engi ki uri shu du. Literal translation, the place where the ordering of the black-headed people and the red-headed people is administered. The black-headed people is the standard Sumerian self-designation. The red-headed people appears in 3 other tablets and has no settled scholarly interpretation. And what is settled is the word shu-du, administered, managed, processed. This is administrative vocabulary. The Abzu is described as a place where human populations are managed, not worshipped at, not prayed toward, administered from.
If records like this, catalog numbers, margin notations, translation footnotes that did not make it to publication, are the kind of thing you came here for, subscribe now. I cover one of these every week. During the last glacial maximum, approximately 21,000 years ago, sea levels were 120 to 130 meters lower than today. The Persian Gulf Basin was dry land, and the Tigris, Euphrates, Karun, and Wadi Batin rivers merged into a single channel that paleoceanographers call the Urshat River, which flowed southeast through what is now open water and emptied into the Gulf of Oman.
The Urshat Paleo Channel has been mapped using side-scan sonar by multiple research teams. The clearest mapping was published in 2004 by a team from the University of Birmingham, led by Dr. Jeffrey Rose in Current Anthropology. The channel is real, the dates are confirmed, and the Persian Gulf was habitable land until approximately 8,000 years ago, when rising sea levels inundated it over a period of roughly 4,000 years. Any structure built on the floor of the Persian Gulf before 8,000 years ago would now be underwater at depths consistent with the halocline boundary described in CBS 10673.
In 2001, the National Institute of Ocean Technology conducted its survey of the Gulf of Combat. The published report, filed under NIOT-2001-GK, describes acoustic anomalies consistent with man-made structures at 40 meters depth and includes carbon dating results from wood recovered by dredging. 9,500 years before present. The wood came from a context associated with the geometric sonar returns, and the published report covers survey week 1. The survey team returned in week 2, and the week 2 data was not included in the published report. In 2012, a right to information request filed by journalist Raj Gaurav Tiwari to the Ministry of Earth Sciences requested the complete NIOT survey data, including week 2 findings. The response was, data under internal review, disclosure pending assessment of national interest implications. And as of the date of this recording, the week 2 data has not been released.
Now resolves the first tension. The 300 ninda measurement from CBS 10673 reverse line 11, 1,800 meters, and the sonar anomaly at Gulf of Combat coordinates, 21 degrees 06 north, 72 degrees 32 east, covers an area that NIOT's published acoustic mapping describes as extending approximately 9 kilometers in length and 2 kilometers in width. 1,800 meters falls within the reported width of the combat anomaly. This is one measurement from one tablet, matching one dimension of one sonar return. It does not prove the Abzu is at combat. It means the scale described in the tablet and the scale of the structure found by sonar are the same order of magnitude, and that is worth recording.
In 1986, dive instructor Kihachiro Arataki found a stepped stone platform off Yonaguni Island, Japan, at 27 meters depth. Masaaki Kimura of the University of the Ryukyus spent 15 years cataloging the site, and his findings were published in Marine Geology in 2007. And the site sits at a depth that would have been above water approximately 10,000 years ago, based on regional sea level data. Kimura identified a straight trench running at 90 degrees to the main wall face, parallel walls, flat floor, and no natural sandstone erosion pattern produces this geometry. The Japanese government survey of 1998 spent 4 days at the site and concluded natural formation, but the trench was not entered during the survey, and the survey report acknowledges this.
The Abzu text in CBS 1067 uses the phrase Kigal Tura in line 13, literal translation, the small great below. And in Sumerian, Kigal typically refers to the underworld, but in combination with Tura, meaning small or contained, the phrase shifts. It describes a contained space below ground level, an enclosure, a room. And the Yonaguni platform has a feature Kimura cataloged as a chamber, a rectangular enclosed space approximately 10 meters by 5 meters, accessible through the trench. And the chamber has not been fully examined by any government-funded team. Poble's margin notation on CBS 10673, filed 1925, was unreferenced in published literature for 94 years. The 2019 University of Pennsylvania digitization memo recommending retranslation is an internal document, not published. The NIOT Week 2 survey data Right to Information request, filed 2012, received the response under review. And the Yonaguni chamber has not been entered by any government survey team in 38 years.
In 2003, a team from the Oriental Institute attempted to reach the site of ancient Eridu, the city CBS 10673 associates with the earliest contact with the Abzu in southern Iraq. Military operations prevented site access, and the team turned back. A 2018 satellite survey of the Eridu region, published in the Journal of Archaeological Science, detected rectangular subsurface anomalies at depths between 15 and 40 meters. The survey report classifies them as requiring further investigation, and no follow-up has been funded. In 2021, a researcher at the University of Chicago submitted a formal request to the Oriental Institute to examine Poble's original 1925 handwritten notes on CBS 10673 in full. The response cited conservation concerns. Access will be arranged when appropriate facilities are available, and that request is still listed as pending.
In 2022, a German research team submitted a proposal to the Deutsche Forschungsgemeinschaft for funding to conduct a targeted sonar survey of the Paleo-Urschat Channel at depths between 30 and 80 meters, seeking structural anomalies consistent with pre-flood habitation. The proposal was declined. The review panel's written response cited insufficient preliminary evidence to justify the survey cost. The preliminary evidence they reviewed included the NIOT published report from 2001, and they did not have access to the Week 2 data. The Abzu appears in the following cuneiform texts, each with a catalog number and current museum location. CBS 10673, University of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, the Seven World Tablet, Abzu referenced as operational base, with depth parameters given. WB444, Ashmolean Museum, Oxford, the Weld Blundell Prism. Abzu referenced as origin point for kingship descent, location described as below the freshwater line. BM 74329, British Museum, London, a temple hymn from Eridu. The Abzu described as Ki-Tush Enki, the dwelling place of Enki. Dimensional reference included. 7 levels descending. VAT 9116, Vorderasiaticus Museum, Berlin. An Old Babylonian administrative text. The Abzu referenced as a facility with maintenance requirements. Workers listed. Tool allocations recorded. AO 6796, Louvre Museum, Paris. The Atrahasis epic tablet. The Abzu referenced as Enki's operational base during the flood preparation. Location described as beneath the southern waters. CBS 14061, University of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. Medical and procedural text. The Abzu referenced as the source of the preparation materials. Geographic bearing given relative to Eridu. Southwest, below the water boundary. 6 tablets, 5 museums, 3 countries, a span of approximately 800 years of cuneiform production, and every reference treats the Abzu the same way, not as a mythological realm, not as a poetic image, but as a place with dimensions, maintenance records, workers, administrative function, and a fixed geographic location below a specific oceanographic boundary.
In the entirety of Sumerian religious literature, when a location is referenced this consistently across this many independent texts with this level of operational specificity, it is because the scribes who wrote those texts believed the location was real. The same scribes who recorded grain inventories, tax assessments, and astronomical observations accurate to fractions of a degree. On November 14, 2001, sonar operator Dilip Rajan logged anomaly GK-2001-114 at 21 degrees 06 north, 72 degrees 32 east in the Gulf of Combat. The published report covers week 1, and the detail withheld at the opening of this video is this. The week 2 survey returned to the same coordinates at a deeper setting, and the NIOT internal communication leaked through the 2012 RTI process before the request was denied, contains one line describing the week 2 return. The line reads, "Secondary acoustic returns suggest enclosed substructure below primary anomaly layer at estimated depth 55 to 70 meters.
55 to 70 meters below the seafloor, below the halocline, below the freshwater boundary. Exactly where CBS 10673 reverse line 8 places the Abzu. The week 2 data remains under review, and the Abzu count across independent cuneiform texts currently stands at 6 confirmed operational references, and the number has not been audited since 1925.
Subscribe, because in 2 days I am covering CBS 14061, the tablet from the same Philadelphia collection that gives a geographic bearing to the Abzu relative to Eridu, southwest, below the water boundary. And when that bearing is plotted against modern bathymetric data, it does not point to open water. It points to a coordinate inside the Gulf of Combat, 4.3 kilometers from anomaly GK-2001-114. And no published survey has examined that coordinate. The video is on screen. Click it. I'll see you in 2 days.